The stories. The stories we will tell. Oh, the places we will go.
Tell us a story.
Dude, listen, I gotta tell you. I don't know what's
We're
in the
recording.
air. I don't know what's in the air. That's okay. I mean, I mean, people say they're an open book. I'm generally an open book when it comes to, Luca Nation, our network here. There's I gotta tell you, so two things, right? I'm a loyal guy, right? I show up every day for you. I try to be loyal. I try to be, people are or do good things for me. I try to do good things back, and more importantly, I try to do good things first, knowing hopefully that something's gonna come back. But if I find somebody who does a good job, I stick with them. You know what I mean? So, I've been in my house for 17 years, and I have a pool, and the first year I bought the house, found out the pool wasn't exactly working properly. And, I called a guy in, local guy, it was right at the pool season. So, he came, he worked on the house. I, developed a friendship with him and basically used his company to open and close the pool. Every year that I've been in the house, this would have been like the 18th pool season for them opening the pool. Young guy, 51, 52 years old. And, I was supposed to have the pool open on May 28th, so everything going fine. It's an old pool, no heater. I'm not fancy pantsy like some folks, but I had a friend who moved to the same neighborhood here, and he was supposed to have the same place open their pool this week, and they didn't show up and they didn't call. And normally they're very good about calling. And come to find out, because I'm not so good with making these long stories short at all, right? The guy who owned the business, who's divorced, and the business is basically he had, he died, and it's a pretty sad thing. I got some details today because I spoke to a couple of the kids who work with him. It seems like it's COVID related. And that's sad. It's a very sad thing. He's a young guy. He was in decent shape, big guy like myself. It's a little scary. And why am I telling you this, right? Because it's weird the way the world works, right? Because I'm telling the story literally a half an hour before we jump on this call. My landscaper showed up. The guy who cuts my lawn and make sure my sprinklers working and that kind of stuff. Jose, friend of mine. Nice guy. I may see him on Father's Day. We try to be friends with everybody. And I notice he's on the side of my house, and he looks a little, what do I call it? Distracted. He looks a little distracted. So I go over and say, "How you doing? Everything going good?" And he's like, "I gotta tell you, man, my life it's getting a little nuts." I said, "What? Talk to me. Tell me what the story is." And he tells me he's been married to his wife 32 years. He's got a business. He's got an apartment in his house that they rent out to people, and he just found out that his wife is cheating on him with the tenant. Wife's 52, and they've married 32 years, and the tenant is like 24 years old. 24 years old. He's got kids, 31 and 25. This guy is younger than his kids. So you know what I was able to say to him? I said, "Listen, it looks like shit right now, right? Things are not looking up. But let me tell you about the guy who used to open my pool. So it could always be worse. Could always be worse." So anyway, that's, like I said, the stories we'll tell, man, the places we'll go. That's been the last couple of hours of my day has been that. So I'm glad, to my Luca Nation Fit family, I'm glad I'm losing a little weight here. I'm glad I'm getting in shape.
Getting healthy.
Getting healthy, I'm glad I'm getting healthy and, doing that kind of stuff. And, I mean, you just never know the curveballs that await you. Just ask Kevin Pillar, although I think that was a fastball. So, how do you start there?
That's a kickoff.
What do you do?
That's quite a kickoff.
I mean, is my day. It's my day. Hey, now it's only there's plenty of time left. The sun's still shining.
One of my favorite books and movies is Silver Linings Playbook. Can you give us a silver lining there? And I'm not joking. The book of Silver Linings Playbook is a really good book.
So the silver lining of that one is that Jennifer Lawrence was in the movie. Pound for pound, one of the greatest actresses in American history. No, so I mean, I didn't give you a silver lining on there. Right? So, well, this is sports, man. It's a sports talk show. You got to go pound for pound. It's it's one of those cliches. So, yeah, I mean, the silver lining on that is I'm still standing, man. I mean, I'm here, and I guess for Luca Nation, or for what I take on it is, you don't know how many tomorrows you have. So, take advantage of today. It's your deal, right? So, I mean, I immediately, went outside, had a catch with my son, and, I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna have a salad tonight for dinner instead of that pizza I was planning on reheating. So, it's, I guess, there's the deal. The silver lining for Jose is that he's still alive. It could be worse. So yeah, I guess it depends on what perspective you look at these things on. So listen, do we have any announcements? Do we have anything that we want to let Luca Nation know? Anybody tuning into this, they might have heard something different for the first time, maybe.
Let's make the announcement tomorrow. We're waiting on a final check mark. A final check mark. If that's okay with you. I know it's
perfectly fine with me. Perfectly fine with me. Perfectly fine.
I came on here with 3 topics, and maybe we'll talk about all of them. Maybe we'll talk about 2 of the 3.
I have an
topic number.
The Hornets let me down. That was going to be my announcement. Like, they didn't even show up. I think my high school basketball team, with the one kid on it who could pretend he could dunk, would have put up a better showing than the Hornets did last night. But anyway, there's my announcement. Go ahead. What's your 3 topics?
The Pacers are putting up. I mean, they put up like 140 points like a few times in the last few weeks. It's kind of crazy. Today's NBA is a really interesting one.
No Karis LeVert, right? And what if McDermott had 16 points in the first 5 minutes of the game? I mean, it's crazy stuff. And so on StarStock last night, someone accepted an offer for me, $24. $24 on a Devontae Graham PSA 10. $24.
Wow.
I'll take it.
Cheap. That's cheap. Most of the topics we get come from communication, interaction with you guys in Luca Nation. So I wanted to talk a little bit about pop count, and specifically pop count as it relates cross sport, right? So we posted a graphic, Mike Trout to the Luca Prism PSA 10. Both are base rookies. I mean, there's a ton of parallels when it comes to the Mike Trout. There's the Target red border, the light blue Walmart. There's parallels. Same with the Luca.
The diamond. The diamond's my favorite.
The Mike Trout pop is around 6,000. The Luca pop is around 17,000. And right, a lot of the comments were pop matters. That's like a big topic of the week, maybe of the month. And they suggest that, I'll go with Mike Trout because the pop is lower. But I'm curious, how do you weigh that for cross sport, right? Isn't basketball also more popular than baseball? Aren't there more basketball collectors? So I'm curious how you weigh that into pop.
I think it depends. So for me, it depends also on the guy, right? I don't know if there are more basketball collectors than there are baseball card collectors of the right baseball card. Sure, there might be people out there buying Luca instead of prospecting on, Bo Bichette or Gavin Lux. But somebody like Trout, it's baseball cards, right? People would, especially if we were having this conversation 2 years ago, people would think we were insane. But basketball has been the come up with Cage. It's all about basketball cards, and that's what people talk about. And then really, the basketball stuff has put the collecting on the map. That's what people are going and investing in. But a card like that Trout rookie, that's a pretty sought after card. You can tell because even though, yes, it's got less pop than Luca, there's still thousands of that base card, and it's worth significantly more. It's worth a multiple of. I mean, I think the number we posted, right? There's 5,000 and change, about 6,000 of the Trouts, and 18,000 of the Lucas, right? So it's a 3-to-1 in pop approximately, but the pricing is 4-to-1 to Trout, right? So when you think about it, you say pop counts. Sure, the Trout has less pop, but the multiple on it is actually greater. You know what I mean? There's a third less Trouts, but the Trout sells for 4 times as much money. So
who would you choose if you had to make a choice right now? You have $5,000. Do you choose a Mike Trout or do you choose 5 Luca Prism?
It's a tough one. Can I take the fact that they're right now both having interesting things going on? Trout's out for 6 to 8 weeks with his calf injury. And Luca, I don't see his team going anywhere in the playoffs. So I mean, they both may be actually coming down. It's funny that those were the cards that we chose to utilize. I got to tell you, I think of those, I would go with Trout for a couple reasons. Number one, he's already solidified himself as one of the greats, definitely great of the generation. I would love to see him win a championship, but so would everybody who holds Trout cards. Luca, while he's a great player, he has not been in the league anywhere near as long as Trout has. And as far as pop goes, I think there's the potential for the pop on the Luka to go up even more and, really dwarf the Trout one. I don't think there's that many, sealed 2011 Topps update stuff out there, especially, with Trout being Trout and MVP for the better part of a decade. People who have that probably open it. People who are going to open it have opened it. People have graded that card. It's probably not that many 10s sitting around anywhere. Whereas the Luka, probably, probably plenty of 10s. So yeah, that would be where I would go. The only negative that I would tell you, the only one that would skew me more towards Luka is we've already seen what a little bit of momentum on that Luka card can do. Like it's down, I see it selling in the 900s, right? I mean, we put it up as like 1080, I think, which is fair. You don't want it to be too cheap. You don't want to skew it, right? But let's just call it $1,000 card. We've seen that card selling for almost $2,000. When he's doing well, because that's a card people want, right? Pop's going up, but that's a card I could see going up 50% quicker than the Trout. Like I could see that card going to 1,500 easier than the Trout card going almost 7,000. So that's the difference. If you're talking about $5,000, I might do five Lukas rather than Good.
Do you see kind of this phenomenon happen of like where the market kind of gets bored of Trout and he needs to do something really out of this world, which might be a 400 batting average, which I don't think will happen. He needs to be a leader in home runs. Did you see the market get a little bit tired with him, or do you? So
yes, but I see that happening with anybody, right? So I mean, we saw it with Giannis, right? Giannis was one where he's won the MVPs, he's won the Defensive Player of the Year, and eventually, his card goes up. The next thing is you need him to win a title, and he didn't win one. He hasn't won one, and then you saw the card that was peaking kind of go down, right? Luka is probably not immune to that. I mean, it's probably early to give up on his cards, but he's not immune to the same type of thing, right? Like he made the playoffs last year. He made the playoffs again this year. If he has an early exit, people are like, all right, that's fine. At least they made it. He was a higher seed or, whatever it may be. He didn't have to be in the play-in game, maybe he has a good performance in the playoffs. But next year, people are going to want him to win a playoff series. Maybe they want that this year.
Okay, don't forget. So when he hit that game winner, I don't know if you remember what happened to the cards on that day.
It was like $2,000.
It was in that same day. It went from 1,800 to 2,200.
Yeah,
just off that one game winner against the Clippers. So it was really an interesting phenomenon. And now his cards are like $960. Do you see? So let's hypothetically use Giannis
on the Trout.
Let's say Giannis
just on the Trout one. You're right. It's the same thing as the MVP, right? So like he could win the MVP every year, but people now expect so much out of him, right? That it's almost like you take him for granted, right? And then when he gets injured, before the injury, he was on like MVP caliber season. That people were baking in he could win another MVP this year, and now he's not going to because he missed 2 months. So I could see his card definitely coming down, and people be like, all right, well, okay.
When you see a Giannis, let's say hypothetically Giannis gets to the finals, and even they go up 2-1, 3-1, and the writing's on the wall. You see this Bucks team is going to win the championship. Do you see that boredom that happened turn into a new price discovery stage where people are like, well, now he's an all-time great. Yep. Now he's two MVPs in a row, and he won a championship. Then is kind of the opportunity for the card to go berserk.
100%. The lack of a championship that will keep him out of that discussion. Win a championship, it brings him to that next level. Now he's got as many championships as Dirk. You know what I mean? Like, he's in another, it's a completely different conversation. And so you talk about on like price discovery wise, right? There are things that will inflate your price. There are things that'll bring your like add helium to your pricing. And there are also things that'll weigh your pricing down, right? So weighing his pricing down is nobody really thinks he's winning it this year. And that's an anchor on his card, right? Yeah. He wins one, and that anchor's gone. The people who are not ready to jump in on Giannis because they think, oh, you know what? His cards already are priced for what he is, and he needs a championship for the cards to go to that next level. He wins that championship. You lose those doubters. You lose those people who were not going to be going into the Giannis market because they were afraid of him not winning a championship. So 100%.
I want to pivot right to crypto and the sell-off that we've all seen tonight. And I want to talk a little bit about price discovery. So it's really, first off, a fascinating world we live in. Just if nothing else, from like just an archaeologist or scientist, like just watching and observing, we're really living in an interesting time. We're living in an interesting time where price manipulation, in my opinion, I have no real evidence to back this up other than just watching, is so rampant, especially in cryptos. So I don't know if you guys realize, like in stock market, there's the SEC, which is a regulatory body, which doesn't allow Warren Buffett to just tweet out like, I bought this much Apple, right? Or Apple is a buy. You can't just do that. But in cryptos, what you're seeing is the price action of the altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum move with media attention, but there's no regulatory body to watch over and be like, you're not allowed to say that because you're costing a lot of people money. Whether you're making money or losing money, it's kind of two sides of the same coin. And with these cryptos, I'm seeing a lot of it's really interesting price behavior. So I wanted to touch on that. We could go deeper on it. We could leave it there, Cage. I don't know if
Can
you
I
have
ask
a
you a
take
question?
on it.
Yeah,
Sure.
So isn't the point of Bitcoin lost if someone like Elon Musk with a tweet is able to tank it? Doesn't that go against kind of the whole thing? And I know we can talk about how China has a much bigger deal, but even before the China news came out, Musk was tweeting about it and basically caused it to start going down already. Like, doesn't that go against like the whole thing? Like doesn't that mean that what everybody thinks this thing is, it's not? If one person can really impact it that much?
Sure, but I don't think the blame or the responsibility is a better word falls on Bitcoin. I think the responsibility falls on Bitcoin companies working together to create some kind of regulatory body. So they regulate crypto companies, but they don't regulate what people can say about crypto. So these people with huge amounts of influence in today's world, there's no repercussions for them saying one thing or another. So it's not Bitcoin's fault because, Cage, the same thing would happen with Apple stock. If Elon tweeted out like, we're not using any of these and this is just an example, we're not using any more Apple microconductor chips, sell. The SEC would fine him. And oftentimes they put you in jail for something like that. Where in Bitcoin, you're not allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. There's no oversight. So the responsibility isn't on the crypto. It's on the crypto community coming together and accountable. And truthfully, you did an amazing job, Cage. I've used this example a few times when you did the example of how 100 Dogecoin wallets could hold more than
2/3,
60%.
It was 66%. Yeah.
But guys, think about this: like you're a price manipulator, right? You have the intention to make money. You create a group chat with 5 to 10 people who also have significant holdings. You all agree on a time to sell, which tanks the price. And then you all agree to buy, which increases the price. And all you do is trade on volatility. And if you layer on something else on top of that, if one of the people in that group chat have a large media presence or are able to move the markets with their following, well, you could on top of knowing when the bottom is and the top is, you're able to move the markets using your following. And I think crypto is right for that.
Any reason why the same type of thing couldn't happen in a low pop card market where somebody was holding a lot of them?
I'm young, man. I'm 31. I mean, Card Porn and I went back and forth today. Like, I'm just letting people know, like, I'm learning a lot of stuff, but I've never seen price manipulation like I've seen in the last 12 to 18 months. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, it's like right in your face. So yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. And the reason it doesn't happen in stock market is because there's a regulatory body that'll put you in jail or fine you heavily for doing these behaviors. There's no accountability in the other two alternate asset classes.
For now, but yeah, it's amazing stuff. It really is. So what else do you want to talk about today?
So one of our community members reached out on Twitter, where we're not as prevalent, but we're starting to build up a following. His name is Alex. An awesome guy, longtime listener, and he mentioned something. He did well on Top Shot. He hasn't done well on physical cards, which is hilarious to hear the reverse, right? Because it's usually like, oh, Top Shot. But he did well on Top Shot, and he asked about a mislabeled PSA card. Specifically, he got a card that was, let me see, it was labeled a No Huddle Prism to a rookie card, but StarStock wouldn't accept it because it was actually a disco. So PSA mislabeled it. And he's sitting here curious. He said, he has two questions for us. He said, how common is it for PSA to mislabel cards? Have you seen this before? And what does he do in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, first thing you do, call PSA, right? Obviously, if there's a mislabeling.
Call?
Yeah, call them up. You know, you email them. Get on. They have a customer service. You know, they'll right on their website. You have like it's like a chat bot kind of thing that you start right there, and then there's an email.
1-800. I'm going to give people the number so they could rewind. 1-800-325-1121. 1-800-325-1121. Open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Yeah, give them a buzz, send them an email, you name it, send them a picture of it, and they will probably tell you to send the card in, and they'll fix it. It's gonna take a little while, but you probably get somebody on the horn, and they've built up their customer service department. It happens more often than you think. Actually, one of our members just sent me over a picture of a card, and it was clearly a refractor, but it wasn't slabbed as one. Like any reason why they shouldn't say refractor? I go, yeah, it's a mistake. So it happens. It just does. Remember, we're not dealing with robots yet. It's still people there.
There's your answer, Alex. So don't get discouraged. We're always here for you. Young kid, he did well on NFTs, physical cards. He's learning that market. So just reach out, send us DMs, send us messages. We'll try to steer you and guide you as much as we can. Let's get into the plays. Let's get into the show.
Was that your 3? You said you had 3 topics. That was your 3?
Yeah, that's 3.
All right, cool. All right, I love it. So what do you got? What's your play?
I remember coming back. I was actually flying back to Mexico this day, and you were doing the Marvel break. And that was the day, I don't know if I had an epiphany or it was like aha moment. I think we all have those. I realized how popular Marvel is. We had guys in the live chat when you were doing that. They were my buddies from high school who have never, ever, ever collected a card, who when they knew we were doing a Marvel break, got into it. Mm-hmm. And my buddy Taylor, who's here in Mexico with me, loves Marvel, favorite character, Iron Man. What's cool about Marvel is everyone has a different type of favorite character for different reasons, right? It's very accessible. It's popular, I guess, for a reason because you can. I don't know if you could see yourself in the characters, but everyone could kind of find their own character that they really, 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 really rock with. And ever since then, I wanted to get into the Marvel market, but the prices were a little bit high. I mean, frankly, on the 1990 set, the box, which you generously basically donated to the Luca Nation community, given what they were selling for, I mean, you were seeing PSA 10s of those 1990, and that's the first edition, right? Marvel's 1990.
Yeah, I mean there are other Marvel cards before that, but that Impel 1990 is like the first Marvel, fun one. There's some Topps ones in the 70s. There's a Donruss comic cards in the 60s, but yeah, it's 1990 Marvel.
And I'm starting to do some research, and I'm starting to think like, why can't Marvel 1990 cards mirror something like the first edition Pokemon cards, right? They have this huge popularity. The brand is growing. The brand is still relevant. It's a Disney company, right? They're pumping out movies. They're doing all of the same things that Pokemon does. They have cultural relevance to the max. Yep. I bet even if people don't know all the Marvel characters, they know the name Marvel.
Well, what's even funnier about that, right, is just a layer onto your play. It's our good friend Bro Namath is getting into the comic books, and one of the fun things he tries to do with the comic books is get ahead of what's coming down the pike for a movie. You know what I mean? I talked about, hey, there's going to be a Jurassic Park movie. Get some Jurassic Park cards. So you got this Marvel set with 100 and something cards in it, and you never know who's going to be the next one that they have. That's going to be a next movie. Like last year was the Dark Phoenix, and there's the Phoenix Saga has a card. Ian and I were watching one of the older Spider-Man movies recently with Andrew Garfield. And the villain was like a lizard guy. It was a professor who he was able to like regenerate his limbs and stuff. And there was a scene where he disperses this like toxin out and he like rips his shirt off and stuff. And Ian and I were going through our Marvel cards, and that scene is the card. There's a lizard guy. And he's like, that's from the movie. Like, look at that. He's got the shirt is coming off and he's got the canister. So I mean, with that many in there, who knows what movie they make in 2025? And there's probably Moon Knight or whoever, Submariner, Captain Britain, all these cards that are in there that could potentially be made into a show, a movie, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, who the heck knows? So I don't even think he has a card, actually, to tell you the truth. Bucky, the Winter Soldier.
I'm going to look up a card. I'll see if I can find it while I'm talking here. If not, I'll let you give your play and I'll come back to it. But the point to that was, You guys know I've been sitting on the sidelines mostly for the last 4 months. And the reason behind that was I couldn't find a play that I could sink my teeth into. So last year, that soda pour, that sounds amazing. I mean, they all like that. It sounded crisp.
Hey now.
So last year it was Zion cards. Early in 2020, Zion cards. I could sink my teeth into it. I knew Zion would overexceed expectations. I knew he'd come in doing amazing things. After that, I went to Kobe. So Kobe's my guy. Kobe rookie cards. There's so many of them. I bet I could buy these raw sentiment graded. In January, February, March, I was just sitting on the sidelines. I even made that apparent to you guys who are our listeners. I was like, I'm just sitting on the sidelines and watching. And I asked Cage, is that okay? Have people done that? And as I've been doing that, Marvel is something I wanted to stick my teeth into. And I started watching the market, and it's come down quite a bit. Like, for example, the Stan Lee card, obviously when it first came out, I mean, we're looking here on the card ladder chart in February 24th, 2021, which was around when we did that break. It was a $4,000 PSA 10. Just the other day, it sold for less than $400 on auction. And there's a great follow, guys, on Twitter. You guys know I don't do a ton of shout outs, but this is a must follow if you're on Twitter. It's MTT. Oh, it's MT Trading 2. Amazing follow. Just some of the best info I've seen. He takes card ladder charts and does his own research and interpretation analysis on top of it. So I was now card ladder has the Stan Lee at a $711 card. But the point is, I think these cards have dramatic cultural relevance in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And after coming off these highs of $4,000 on the PSA 10s, I don't know if we found the bottom. I think we're near a bottom, so there is a little bit more risk. But I think long-term, they're an amazing hold. And I'm going to go and actively build out a collection, a set of the PSA 10s. However, Cage talked to me about this. The holograms, which I think there's 4 or 5 of them in the 1990 set, are the hardest cards to grade. So with those, I'd be going after PSA 9s. And just this weekend, I bought the Spider-Man PSA 9 hologram. There's like 24 PSA 9s and I think 4 or 5 PSA 10s out of like 150 cards graded. I bought the 9. I bought it for $400. So I'm letting you guys know, full disclaimer, Shy Wave Vlogs talks about this, and he's absolutely right. You have to give a disclaimer when you're buying these cards. I am buying Marvel. Up to you guys. You could buy 1990, 1992, but I think Marvel in general has insane cultural relevance. And I would look at this huge dip as an opportunity to buy in, or at least monitor the market to see when is a good time to buy in.
I like it. Listen, you want to give a disclaimer. I got a bunch of them sitting at PSA. I don't know when the hell I'm going to get them all back. I don't know if they're going to get any 10s. They're hard grades. They're really hard grades. And the holograms you're talking about, they're off center. They got scratches. They got surface issues. You name it. So they're real tough. Even in 9s, there's a couple dozen of each one in 9s. And guys, you don't have to stay with the 1990 set. There are precious metal gem Marvel cards. No baloney. They're PMGs. They're Marvel PMGs for Black Panther. You know what I mean? So take a look. There's a whole bunch of cool Marvel cards that are out there. I like, Flair had like a Marvel Masterpiece. I think it was 94 was the first year they might have done it. And there's definitely some cool Marvel cards that are out there.
Can I tell you my favorite? The one that I think is the funniest? I was actually going to send this to you as a gift, but I was like, I want to send him a gift, but I don't want to send him a gift that's loses value. Yam was actually helping me with this. I was messaging Yam back in February. But when you just know the market, and when there's such low pop in the beginning, you would be overpaying for like a Stan Lee for $4,000. So I didn't want to give you a gift that lost value. But this would be the card I would have gotten you. Okay, Cage? It's the Spider-Man presents Wolverine when they're sitting at the bar. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man asks Wolverine, your real name is Logan. Is that your first name or last name? And Wolverine says, yep. Yeah. I just thought it was a hilarious card. I thought it was a hilarious cartoon. It was so cool. So I think that's a subset.
Hilarious. There's a lot of those Spider-Man presents. There's like a subset in the set. There's also like comic books, like important comic books and that kind of stuff. So I love the set. I think we've seen the pop go up. I mean, you notice the stuff that's being sold all have 5s and 5.5, 5.6, 5.7s. So there's a lot of people who were opening these boxes. So while late last year, early this year, and got the cards graded. But it's still even open them up. They're the 10s, the pop on 10s will go up. It's not going to go up like crazy. I like it, and you're right about it being relevant. I mean, I talked about this in one of my previous episodes, maybe even in Cardboard Relevant. How I wanted Ian to watch baseball, and he's like, "This is boring. I want Ian to watch soccer. This is boring." He's like, "I don't watch Iron Man." I'm like, "Yeah, but you know how Iron Man ends, just like you know how these games end." And he's like, "I don't care. I just want to watch it. I want to watch it again. Like I've seen it a billion times. I don't watch it." So you get a whole generation of kids that are growing up on these Avengers, Endgame, and all this stuff too. So it has some legs.
I think it's going to act a lot like the first edition Pokemon. It's a long-term play for me, but I think it has tremendous cultural relevance. I think it checks a lot of the boxes that you talk on Cardboard Relevant. And guys, take a look at that segment that Cage has been doing. I like it a lot, and I'm actively buying it. And I'm buying it like a collector. I've talked to you guys a lot. Like, I came into this hobby just to color up and make money. But I always love the quote, like, what got you here isn't what's going to get you to the next level. I know the next level of Andrew has to be more collector mindset, and that's how I'm approaching this Marvel set.
Like it. So let's stick with my Cardboard Relevant, right? So I'm not going to do this every day, but I do want you guys to, to check it out. I mean, I have fun with it. I give you 1, 2, 3, 4 minute snippet of what's going on, what's relevant, what's not. Talk about, recently, our post about Kawhi being relevant, in basketball, no one wants to cut him when put up against Durant and Giannis. Everybody wants to keep Kawhi, but no one wants to buy his cards, right? So, it's Cardboard Relevant. And I gave a play today on Cardboard Relevant. So, the couple hundred people who listen to it and watch it on my, my personal page, they got early access to today's play. So there you go, a little hint. Maybe you should be checking out Cardboard Relevant when it drops on my Instagram page. But it's one of those plays that not a lot of people are on yet, but I have a feeling that's going to change. And it's one of these quick hitter type plays. So people who know me know I had a bunch of this guy's rookie cards, but I sold them. I sold them when he got injured. I sold them. I was only into them for, at the time, $17, and they were at like 28. I took my small profit and I went away from them. But I give this in Cardboard Relevant. I said, 2018 was a crazy year because everybody was Ohtani crazy, and everybody seems to be Ohtani crazy again. He's hitting the ball, he's pitching, you name it, the whole deal. But everybody forgets who came in second to him in the Rookie of the Year race in 2018. And a lot of people thought, including myself, he should have won. But he split votes with the guy who came in third, also on his team. The guy who came in third was Gleyber Torres. Not a bad player. Hasn't had a greatest year this year. He's definitely no Ohtani. But the guy who finished in the middle of those two, his name is Miguel Andujar. And unfortunately for him, he got injured last year, tore his labrum at exactly the same time that Gio Urshela remembered how to hit, or figured out how to hit, because I don't know if he ever hit before. He's always been a defensive whiz at third base, but now he actually hits the ball, leaving him as sort of an odd man out. He tore his labrum. He came back. He really wasn't hitting. But what you have now with the Yankees is a whole bunch of injuries, which is what happens, right? It happens in baseball. It's crazy. We're worried about our football collections because what's going to happen? These guys get injured. Baseball has more injuries than anybody else. It's insane how it happens, right? And the Yankees outfield
specifically
right now,
the Yankees, by the way. Whoever runs that whole strength and conditioning division.
So Aaron Hicks, one of their outfielders, is out for a long time, maybe the whole season with a wrist injury. You got Brett Gardner, who's 37 years old and batting under 200. And Clint Frazier's been their left fielder. And as a starting left fielder, he's batting 151. So there's definitely room for Mr. Andujar, who plays a little first base and is playing the outfield. Not to mention times an opportunity at DH with Giancarlo Stanton on the DL as well. So he's getting at bats. He's going to get a shot. And, if he's able to put it together, this is a guy who's on a big market team. They will find space for him, or, he'll leave. He's 26 years old, so younger than Clint Frazier, who's out in the outfield there, who's 27. And it's a guy who, if memory serves him, when I recorded our episode, my Cardboard Relevant, he batted 297 or 298 in 2018 with 47 doubles, 27 home runs, and like an 855 OPS. So there's crazy numbers, like the numbers that the players who the Yankees have running out there in the outfield now, they can't dream of a season like that, right? So, he's able to do it. And why I bring him up today is I watched the Yankee game last night. I was flipping back and forth between the basketball games. That Hornet one really wasn't holding my attention. So I put the Yankee game on, and Andujar is playing, and he's getting hits. He's had two hits. He's spraying the ball, line drives, hitting the ball all over the place. And I'm like, if this kid could come back, this is they might actually have something here. And I looked up his PSA 10 rookie cards for 2018. Now there's Chrome ones if you want to go that way. The card number 14 was just a Topps rookie from 2018. His PSA 10 base sold this week for $15, and a refractor sold for $20. You know, I'm talking like PWCC auction, $20 for a refractor. I don't think when PSA opens, I don't think you're gonna be able to grade cards for that price. So you're able, for the price of grading or less than grading, get this guy's PSA 10. You know, I mean, that's, talk about like a low risk, high potential reward for a guy who has shown you when he's able to play and gets at bats, he puts it together and really hits the ball well. And if it turns out that he can't, and he's, you know, he doesn't turn into something huge, what do you waste, $15, $20? You know, my thought on this is, if he sticks and he's gonna get the at bats for the next couple of weeks, like, this is a guy who SportsCenter hasn't picked up on yet. You know, nobody's talking about him unless you watched the Yankee game last night. You probably didn't realize that he was getting at bats, but he's the kind of guy who can get streaky, who can get hot and start hitting the ball and actually be, you know, a meaningful contributor. And maybe he gets put back on the radar the way that he was after that rookie season, 2018. There's my play, low risk.
Andujar. What a funny name. Cage, I mean, you've been spot on with these.
Andujar is what they say. It's, you listen to the Yankee broadcast, it's like Miguel Andujar. I'm like, okay, I guess that's where that's the syllable where the accent goes. I don't know.
Well, you've been spot on with the baseball plays. Quick shout out. First off, our content, people love the graphics we've been putting up, so we'll keep those coming. Shout out to Preston. Preston got an amazing opportunity. So he's moving on from our content team. He gets to manage like a social media department at a local hospital, I believe, or something like that. So pretty awesome opportunity. I don't know if you heard. So we wish you all the success, Preston. Thank you. Guys, Preston helped us launch our YouTube channel. So please go ahead and subscribe. Give him a thank you. We'd appreciate it.
Baseball Authority. If you're not following that, there's something wrong with you. Go follow that Baseball Authority account because it's got some cool content on. It's one of Ian's favorite things to check the content out on. Cool stuff on there.
Yeah. We're going to be making an announcement tomorrow, so guys, stay tuned for that.
How about Demo, right? Big thank you to Demo, right, for putting out some graphics.
That's right, Demo Timov. And guys, we're looking to add to the team. You know, we've mentioned a few times. So if you're interested at all, if you have some video editing skills, you know, a lot of people have come and gone from this team, have used it as kind of like a stepping stone. And we're totally okay with that as well. So if you want to come in, you know, and chop videos up for a week, a month, a year, I think it's a fun community. We get to talk sports cards and things like that. So if you're looking for something for some extra part-time work, we're looking as well. So feel free to reach out to us. And that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you guys for all your support. Hope you enjoyed today's plays.
It's Wednesday.
Cage.
So that the Come Up With Cage is on tonight. We got our friend Friends with Ben, a YouTube channel. Ben Carlos is going to be released on YouTube. So take a look at that one. It was a real fun episode. I like that guy.